Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to make an APA style table. There's variations on this. I'm just going to show you basically what I'm doing with this variable. So, or what I'm doing with this table. So this, I copied in the Jamovi results. That is not APA style. Your professor or teacher will not be very happy with you if that's what you copy in. So I'm just going to use this to refer to, so I have the numbers right there. So in Google Doc, I started out with having table 1 and then I put that in bold. And then because that is APA style, and then I have my title in title case. So you can see here that words are capitalized and it's in italics. I am going to double space that, but I'm going to do that at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and insert my table. So I'm going to go to Insert and Table. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The reason I'm doing 7 is that I'm going to have I've counted out the statistics that I need for it. And so I want to put my variable here. So this column will be the variable name. And then I'm going to include different information from my results. So here are my results up here, right? I'm going to include my beta weight first. This is my unstandardized beta. And then I'm going to include include the standard error. And then I'm going to include the 95% confidence interval. And I'm going to include the t statistic. And I'm going to include the beta, which is our standardized beta, standardized weight. So I'm going to go to Insert and Symbols, Equation, and up here go to Greek letters, and I'm going to choose beta right there. And then I'm going to do P. You want to italicize, so B should be italicized, and T should be italicized, and then beta, and I mean, it's kind of fancy. You don't really need to italicize it. It's actually, I don't think it'll let me italicize it. Yeah, it's already fancy. And then we're going to italicize P. So we want to do that for our statistics. And then I'm going to create additional rows for my variables. So you can tab over to create additional rows. Notice how it's slanted right there because it's italicized. I'm going to get rid of all my italicizing. So I'm just going to italics and no italics to get rid of it. And then I'm going to put my variables in order. So I'm going to start with the intercept. And then I'm going to go to agreeableness. And I want them to all be on one line. So I'm just going to make that wider and I'll fix these guys. And then I'm going to do neuroticism. Neuroticism. And I'm going to do female because we're treating that as a separate dummy coded variable. And then other that we're treating as a separate dummy coded variable. And so these are going to be centered. So I'll just go ahead and center those. So I'm going to go up here to the, oops, that's not what I wanted to do, overlapping. There we go. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to select alignment centered. And our numbers are actually going to be centered as well. So I'm going to align centered. So my intercept should be 50.45. So we're just going off this information right there. So 50.45. And then agreeableness, my beta is minus 1.35. And then neuroticism is going to be minus 0.37. And gender female was minus 5.23. So I'm just rounding. And it's standard to do 2 numbers after the decimal. So that's what I'm rounding to, minus 4.97 from other. And then my standard error, again, I'm going to round 1.80, 0.17, 0.16, 1.10, and 3.67. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that up. And so what you'll want to do here is where you have the 95% confidence interval, the rest of them are pretty obvious. But for the 95% confidence interval, I'm going to put it in brackets. So I'll do the first one just to demonstrate. Um, so my confidence interval right here, you want to do your lower first. So my lower confidence interval is, oops, I'm in the intercept. There we go, is 46.90, comma, and then 54.01 with rounding. So we're going to have to make that column a little bit bigger there, which makes sense. And then we're going to fill in the rest of these. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and fill the rest of this in. So this isn't the world's longest video, and I will be right back. All right, so here we are. I filled out my values. And I just want to point out a couple things before I make some changes. So you should have your decimals lined up. Like you should be able to draw a little line right here, and it's through the decimals. To my knowledge, in Google Docs, there's not a great way to do that. In Word, there is. So I will say Word can be better for making tables if that's something that you're not comfortable fixing on your own. It's not that big of a deal, so I personally am fine with using Docs, and I can, like with my p-values over here, I'll do some spaces to kind of fix it. Your confidence interval, you should have the comma lined up. Again, same thing here. With the p-value, because I have so many small values, I'm going to do less than 0.001, and since I have 3 numbers after the decimal, I'm going to do that for all of my p-values. So I'm going to just space these other two so that the decimals line up. And then you could space these out a little bit more. So if you want these to be equal, you can highlight all of these, and you can right click and you can say distribute columns, and it'll make them the same length. Obviously that kind of messes up our 95% confidence interval. So we could do, we can just kind of space it out ourselves a little bit here. It's actually pretty close. So I'm just gonna do like that. But you want it to look pretty. You want it to look clean. The next step is that we want to get rid of all of our vertical lines. You shouldn't have any vertical lines for APA style tables. That's like a big no-no. So I'm going to highlight all of this, and I'm going to click right on this, click to select borders, this little arrow that's in the top right. I'm going to select all the borders, and I'm going to make them white. So I'm going to go up to this border color and white. And then I'm going to highlight my top row. So my top row, I'm going to click again on select borders. I just want to do the top this time. So I'm going to add a column to the top border, or a top border above the columns. And then I'm going to change this to black, like that. Same thing here. I'm going to select it again. I'm going to select borders, and now I'm going to click the bottom border. And again, I just need to change it to black. And then my last note here, I'm going to click here, add a bottom border. Again, I'm going to make it black. And then you might want to add a note. So if you add a note, the word note should be italicized. And I could add a note talking about my reference level for gender. So I can say that female and other were dummy coded and compared against the reference level male. So now this looks a lot better. I just need to do one last thing. I'm going to highlight this, all of it. I'm going to go up to more, and I'm going to go to my line and paragraph spacing, double space. And there you have your APA style table for simultaneous multiple linear regression. So again, there's modifications of that. Some people might leave the standardized beta off. I have the p-values here, so I don't feel the need to specifically note which are significant. you certainly could. I've seen some people, like Dr. Jones, will bold it. Um, uh, I've seen some people do the little asterisks is pretty common, but um, you can see from the p-values listed which are significant, so I will not do that. So that's it for this video, and that is the end of the simple linear regression series of videos.